Thank you so much for having me today. When Terry called me Monday and said, "Do you want to speak at this?" and she said, "You're one of the biggest feminists I've ever met, and so will you come speak at this TEDx event?" I said, "Sure, I'd be honored." Needless to say, what a great ride the last 12 years has been, and I am so proud of this community. Terry referred to the bar that we used to own in the late 70s on Main Street. It was called Ryan's. And it was so cool because, my three-legged, one-eyed dog could sleep in the middle of the street during the day because there was never any cars. And it was kind of left us with a who'd have thunk this in terms of what's happened to us since that time. And one of the most amazing things, I think, when we look at what's happened, especially in the last year, with things like the Outside Magazine accolades and the best outdoor community ever, which was very cool. And the other awards, one we just got last week that nobody really knows about, but the Urban Land Institute gave Park City one of the 3 top affordable housing awards for the year for the Snow Creek Affordable Housing Project. And 2 years ago, IMBA, the International Mountain Biking Association, made us their first ever gold medal city. Those are all very cool things. Take hundreds of people to make those things happen. And now we're to the point where we have several million people visit us every year, but there's parts of us that they don't ever see. And those are the things that I think that have been the most important to me in my tenure in office. About 3 months after I took office, we had 2 little events. We had Sundance and the Olympics within the first 4 weeks of being in office, so great trial by fire. But I got to go to a Designing Public Spaces conference in Chicago. And a mayor got up who had just gotten elected to his 7th term, and as of now, he is in his 10th 4-year term. And he's the mayor of Charleston, South Carolina, a gentleman by the name of Joe Riley. And everybody had their PowerPoint presentations going, and Joe walks up with a carousel of slides that are falling out as he's walking up to the podium. And when he starts to talk, the pictures are sideways, they're upside down, and everything else. And then he turned around and he said, "My job as mayor," and tears start coming out the corner of his eyes, "is that I need to be painfully aware on a daily basis of the people that are having the toughest time in my town. That's my job as mayor, and that's how I'll always think of the level of my service will be based on what happens with them." Needless to say, that had a pretty big effect on someone who'd been a mayor for about 30 days. So I came back, and the city, as many of you know, does a grant program. And in those days, the grants were mostly toward visual arts and a couple other projects around town, but they weren't based on the neediest in our town. And so we started working on, it's 1% of our budget, so that's somewhere between $500,000 and $700,000 a year that we were giving to nonprofits. So we started looking at, well, who are the nonprofits that handle that, for lack of a better term, soft underbelly of who we are? Peace House, NAC, People's Health Center, the Park City Foundation, Recycle Utah. There's about 12. And as we started looking at all this, every one of those groups were run by women. And very interesting, not competition. The greater good was always a huge part of the efforts of these groups. And I'll tell just a couple little stories, but one in particular was a woman who used to be a writer for the Park Record newspaper, former editor, who felt that the performing arts were something that needs to be acknowledged in this town, and pretty much single-handedly started a process that got us a performing arts center that's now turned into an institute. And Terry, I'm talking about you, girlfriend. But to see what the ability of one person and the amount of champions that we have in this town, and a group of people that are willing to step up, not about money, but about intertwining the fabric of who we are as a community and how important that is to us. That's not what people see when they come here. They don't understand that close to 40% of our town has no health insurance, or 25% of our town is Latino. And the ability to work together has been one of the greatest joys of my tenure. There are groups like the Latinos in Action that Anna Williams at the high school started, or the middle school leadership program that Julie Hooker is involved in. And you see these groups and the power and the effect that they have on our town is something that I've been so exceedingly proud of. I will miss the day-to-day banter with, which I have received a PhD in banter in 12 years. It's an honorary degree. But so I thought what would be the most appropriate thing would be to start the day with my other profession. And this is a song that Harry Belafonte wrote in 1958 and is still politically correct today. It's the first time I've ever played a guitar through a wireless mic. Ever since the world began, women are changing the ways of man. They said, boys, well, I got a plan, don't give it up. And don't try to understand, it ain't me. It's the people that say, men are leading the women astray. But I say, it's the women today, you know, they're smarter than the men in every way. 'Cause that's right, the women are smarter. Well, that's right, the women are smarter. Well, that's right, the women are smarter. The women are smarter, that's right. Well, this little boy sat on a corner and cried, and this big dude comes and asked him why. He said, I can't tell you what the women folk do. The man sat down, you know, he cried too. It ain't me, well, it's the people that say men are leading the women astray. But I say, it's the women today, they're smarter than the men in every damn way. Well, that's right, the women are smarter. Well, that's right, the women are smarter. And that's right, the women are smarter. The women are smarter, that's right. So when they put men and women together to see which one was smarter, well, some say men and we say no. The women got the men, it's like a puppet show. It ain't me, it's the people that say men are leading the women astray. But I say, it's the women today, you know, they're smarter than the men in every way. 'Cause that's right, the women are smarter. Well, that's right, the women, they're smarter. Well, that's right, the women are smarter. The women are smarter, that's right. That's right. Thank you all very much. Have a great day.